What's up, a Cinema Shogun here, and as most of you all have probably seen by now, earlier today, Nancy Pelosi arrived in Taiwan. Now, there was some talks there for about a week or two that Nancy might visit Taiwan, but due to China's reaction, we were all thinking, hey, maybe she might not go, because China got extremely upset about it. If you know anything about the relations between China and Taiwan, then you could probably understand why. But China at one point went so far as to threaten to shoot down Nancy Pelosi's plane before it even landed in Taiwan. And trust me, I know that would make a lot of you all extremely happy, but if something like that did happen, it would be the start of World War III. And to think World War III would start because of Nancy Pelosi, of all people. But if you ask me personally, I believe that World War III started a little while back. It's just that wars are being fought in a different way now. Often it's not about, military action and guns and bullets. A lot of it is about information. A lot of it is about like how these people are using the internet to attack each other and hack each other's banking systems and you name it. So war is being fought in many different ways than the ways that you're used to. It's not necessarily physical conflicts. However, this looks like it might pop off another mass actual physical war like the one we're seeing over there in Ukraine. If you've been subscribed to my channel long enough, then you might remember that I actually covered the build-up to the war of Ukraine and the early days of the actual conflict. And I was on top of that story before the mainstream media was talking about it. I was telling you all for weeks and months before it even gained any attention that Russia was just amassing this massive army of troops right on the border of Ukraine. And then we started seeing them move all of these, all of this military equipment from Humvees to tanks to missile launchers and you name it. We just started seeing a lot of crazy stuff. But then when we started to notice that Russia was like building literal like military medical tents and field hospitals, and they were shipping huge amounts of blood to the border, that's when I knew for a fact that this isn't a game, this isn't a drill, this isn't practice. They're going into Ukraine. And if you were following my channel or subscribed to me back then, I broke that news to you all weeks before the mainstream media wanted to talk about it. Now, I covered that conflict for a little while, but I stepped back from this story because once the mainstream media got involved, it became all about propaganda. It was hard to tell what was real and what was fake. Half of it was fake. People were talking about the ghost of Kiev and all of this other stuff that just wasn't real. And I tried my hardest to stick to the facts. But then when I realized that this was another one of those news stories, another one of those worldwide events that the mainstream media and our government was trying to use to make us scared and to control us, I had to step away from it. But this situation looks like another one of those situations. Putin, he had lines that he didn't want to be crossed. And regardless if you agree with those lines being crossed or not, those lines were crossed. Everyone thought it was a bluff, but Putin took action. The people of Ukraine, they were given a warning that this was going to happen. A lot of them were like, no, it's not going to happen. Everything's good. Next thing you know, bombs start dropping and these people went out of the country, even though they had weeks on end to get out because it was obvious that something was about to go down. Well, the same way I noticed all of the movement of troops and military equipment back then, I'm noticing it now in China. They are amassing a lot of troops, in particular areas of China that would make it easy for them to go ahead and attack Taiwan. Now, they've threatened military action. They actually threatened that sometime tonight, maybe by the time you're watching this video, that they plan on retaliating in some way, shape, or form. Is that a bluff? Possibly. But I think we're at that point in today's world where we can't take this stuff lightly anymore. Everyone was taking this Russia situation lightly until things started happening and bullets started flying and people started dropping. And now we're sending Ukraine billions upon billions of dollars every time you turn around. So we've known for years, this hasn't been a secret, that China wants to retake Taiwan. It was only a matter of time. That time probably being right about now. Don't get me wrong. Nancy Pelosi going over there, regardless if you agree with it or not, it's going to infuriate China, and it's kind of like poking the bear. I'm not here to get political. So if you like Nancy or you dislike Nancy or you think, hey, she shouldn't be there or she should be there, there's no point in having that debate anymore because she's there. Now we just have to prepare for what comes next. And if we were to believe what China is threatening, there's going to be some type of military action or something big. Now, the U.S., they're taking this more seriously than you might think. They are already building up and they're sending their ships over there to get close to Taiwan just in case something happens. We have promised Taiwan, our other, members of our alliances and various things have promised Taiwan that we would defend them if something like this happens. However, just the other day, the White House said that they do not acknowledge Taiwan's independence, yet Nancy Pelosi is over here saying that she does. So it's like we're sending mixed signals. Do you support Taiwan or do you not support Taiwan? Now, our long-standing promises would suggest that if China attacked Taiwan, we would directly get involved in that conflict, and so would other people who, are our typical allies. Will we actually fulfill those promises? I don't know. What I do know is that the rest of the world is looking at the U.S. as, let me make sure I phrase this the right way. They're not looking at us like we're just an easy, free pick, the weakest country in the world, but they're looking at us as if we're vulnerable right now. Like we are the weakest that we've ever been. If there's a chance to do something, the time is now. We're already spread thin. We're sending billions upon billions of dollars to Ukraine. We're sending all of this military equipment. If a major military conflict were to spark off in Taiwan, would we be sending them billions of dollars and more equipment? And while we're doing that, we're making our country weaker. We're driving up, inflation. And before you know it, a candy bar is going to cost $8. And, $8 isn't going to be anything anymore. It's a really complicated situation, no matter how you look at it. But the reason I wanted to make this video is just to let you all know that this is going on, because it's easy to not pay attention to these things because there's so much other stuff going on in the world. There's all these other news stories that they want us to focus on. But this is really important because my life, your kids' lives, especially if they're in the military, they will be directly affected by this. And I can't help but feel like it's almost as if some people in our government just want us to get into a major conflict. Like they want war. I know it makes a lot of money, but damn. I don't know, folks. It just looks bad. It looks extremely bad. And like I said, I'm noticing that they're moving the troops now. Maybe this will be the straw that broke the camel's back. But don't get me wrong. Nancy Pelosi going over there to Taiwan, it's not like that's going to be what exactly caused this whole conflict, because this conflict was going to happen one way or another eventually, but maybe it sped up the process. And if China wants to stay true to their promises, then there's something that's going to be happening soon. And I'm hoping and fingers crossed that they're just bluffing. But like I said, we've moved past that point in the world where leaders bluff and they flex like they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and it's just all posturing and they never do anything. No. Those days are over. I think people mean business now. And I think people realize that we're in a vulnerable state, at least more vulnerable than ever. So if you had plans and you had something that you wanted to do, now is the time to strike. If you catch my drift, if you understand what I'm saying. But I just want you all to pay attention to the situation. Hopefully it doesn't get worse. Hopefully Nancy Pelosi leaves. Everything runs smoothly. The people of Taiwan are okay. But at the end of the day, if something does happen, it's the people of Taiwan who will feel the effects of this the worst. Even though most of them have nothing to do with what's going on here. But that's the way the world works. Let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all on the next video.